Hello, programmers! Today we're going to talk about plotting and graphing using matplotlib. So this will not come pre-installed when you install Python. It's a module you'll have to go through an extra step to download it. And from their website, the matplotlib.org website, there is a link for installation. So you can click on that and follow the installation guide. For me on a Mac, I open up Terminal and I figure out where pip is installed, the package install tool for Python, and type in pip install matplotlib. On a PC, I would open a command window and the same thing, figure out where everything's installed. I'm using the pip tool for package install and pip install matplotlib. But it may be a little different depending on your version of Python and what kind of computer you have and where everything's installed. So I'm going to skip that and just show you, assuming that you have it downloaded correctly, what you'll do next. So first let's check if it's installed on your computer. You can try importing matplotlib, and if you do not get an error message, then it worked. Congratulations, you're ready to use matplotlib. So let's talk a little bit more about import statements. We've used them to import modules like the math module. And once we do that, we can use things from the math module with the word math, and then a period, and then the name of the function like cosine or sine, or the variable like pi, and then we can start using math.py. Well, the math module doesn't take very much typing for characters to type in math, but if you're really lazy and you want a shortcut for typing in the word math, you can say import math as m. And now instead of typing in math.py, we can do m.py. So just a different way to import, where you're also at the same time creating an alias so you don't have to do as much typing. So where that really is going to come in handy is with matplotlib, because it's not just one module, it's a whole package, a library with multiple modules in it. One of them, the one I want to use today, is pyplot for plotting and graphing, and that is a mouthful there, matplotlib.pyplot. So instead of typing that over and over in my program, I'm going to import that as PLT, because I can't be bothered to type in the word plot. I have to abbreviate it. Programmers like to abbreviate. So I've got that line, and from this point on, I can just say PLT and then start typing in the command that whatever I want to do with PLT. So I want to plot, it's actually PLT is just the module alias, and then I want to call plot, and I'll pass in a list of different values that I want to plot. I'm just throwing in some data, and then I'll do PLT show, and it'll come up with a graph using those 4 data points. If you pass in one list to the plot command, it's going to use those as the y values. Notice the first number I passed in was 4, and if you look at the y-axis, there's a 4. And then I've got a 10, and a 5, and a 15. So the plot command is very versatile. The function has optional import arguments. So I typed it in advance so you didn't have to watch me type this all, putting this into a script to say do the import, and then I'm going to come up with some variables to keep track of how many hacking attempts there were for 4 months, starting with March, and then April, May, June. So I've got 4 months. That'll be my x-axis data, and then I've got 4 corresponding values. That'll be my y-axis data, and then I'll show them. So let's run just this and see what happens. And voila, we have that graph. And this time, notice my x values don't just start with 0 like they did last time. They start with the 3, because that's what my months list has inside of it. There's a lot of customization you can do with these graphs. And I'm going to start with adding a title and say hacking attempts per month. And I'm also going to pass in a vector with 4 values. This is the minimum and the maximum y value that I want on my graph, and the minimum and the maximum, the y value second and the x values first. So if I run that, it's going to show my data, and it's the same data, but this time it's going to start with the number 1 and then go to the number 7 and then start from 0 and then go to 200 doesn't make as much sense with this data distribution as some other data distributions, but we can customize that and say we don't want to show quite those many values on the y-axis if we want to start somewhere where our data starts. So you can customize just about everything, including, instead of connecting the points and making a solid line, what if you want to see the individual points? And I'm going to say I want a red diamond, and each of those points, each of the 4 points will now show up as a red diamond. All right, I think that's a good stopping point, but I'll create future videos on how to use matplotlib for bar graphs and pie charts. It's a really, really useful module.